Hello and welcome to the Oriel Virtual Alumni Weekend. My name's Catherine and I'm the Alumni Relations and Events Officer here at Oriel. I'm very pleased to welcome you and hope you enjoy the sessions you have signed up for today and the pre-recorded talks which will be uploaded to our website tomorrow. So a few housekeeping points for this and other sessions. Please use the Q&A box to ask any questions and we'll pass them to our speakers at the end of the session. If you experience any technical issues, please also use the Q&A box and we'll do our best to rectify them. This session is being recorded and will be added to our website early next week. Coming up later today, we'll have talks from Professor Lynn Cox and Professor Max Crispin and from Dr. Andrew Wells, as well as an Oriel quiz. If you haven't booked for these, we'll be sharing links on our social media and website for you to join. For our first session, I am pleased to introduce our Provost, Neil Mendoza, to welcome you to the weekend and to give an update on what's been going on in college. Neil, over to you.
Very good. Can you hear me? Brilliant. So listen, welcome everybody to this virtual alumni weekend. I mean, many apologies that we're not doing this in real reality, but this is what you're getting. And I'm so grateful that you're here this morning. We've got a very good range of attendees. I can't see you, but I know who you are. And that attendees goes right across the spectrum, from ancients like Basher, all the way to people who've graduated relatively recently, like Zippy. In fact, we've got people here who've only just recently graduated a few months ago and are now here as postgraduate students. Many apologies that you can only see me on this platform, so I'll try and be relatively brief. And then there'll be an opportunity to ask questions, as Catherine said. Now, clearly, since we last met, things have been quite eventful. And the situation has affected us. I'm trying not to say the P word. The situation has affected us all as individuals, families, organisations, and governments. And Oriel's been no different. It's been quite an experience over the last months. Starting after lockdown, when we pivoted to online teaching in Trinity term, which went well, really well, I think, thanks to the effort and dedication of our tutorial fellows. And then, unlike with A-levels, the university decided to continue with exams, but they became online exams and they were all open book, and students were given extra time to sort of deal with the sort of fiddling around of technology and dealing with reference material. But they went really well. And the feedback I've heard both from students and academics was that it was a good experience. And I think it's probably changed exams forever. In fact, when you talk to the academics who have to mark finals, it made a huge difference. Normally, when they get a transcript in scrawly handwriting, they have to sort of make a guess at what grade this possibly represents. And now with computer transcripts, they can give an accurate mark. And I think that will be a good thing. And in fact, on the subject of academic content, it's very odd speaking to people actually when you can't see them. But anyway, I'm going to have to get used to it. I'm pleased to share with you that in spite of all the many challenges faced by last year's finalists, Oriel's had its best undergraduate academic results ever. 50% of undergraduates were awarded firsts. And we even had a congratulatory first in classics, which, as you know, is rare. And we're all delighted with this outcome. It's a real credit not only to the students, but to the determination and dedication of their tutors. Now, you've probably heard a bit about admissions, and actually they went well. Despite, and in fact, maybe just because of great efforts were made by ministers, by the Department of Education, by Ofqual to try and put up the odd hurdle to provide challenges. But in fact, it was all seamlessly handled here by our tutor for admissions, who is also our chaplain, Dr. Rob Wainwright. And we've got an excellent cohort of freshers arriving. And in a way, Oriel bucked the trend from the university experience across the country, and also actually across the collegiate experience in Oxford, in that the majority of our offer holders achieved their offer conditions after the algorithm was used. But then even after that, we didn't have to take that many clemency decisions because, as a matter of course, every year we look at all the available evidence to us, not just A-level results, to make admissions decisions. We look at school references, we look at predicted grades, we look at contextual data about students' backgrounds and their school's previous attainment levels, interview performance, test results. So we have a pretty good non-algorithmic system for selection at Oriel, and I'm thrilled with the outcome. Michaelmas term is almost upon us. For those of you that need to know, 4th of October is the start of North Week, which is when freshers will begin to arrive. And you can just imagine the preparation that's going on here for the start of this term, which is slightly different to normal. There's a lot of talk about households and bubbles, and we've got at least 50 international students arriving here over the next couple of weeks for their Oriel quarantine experience. And we're making sure that we are in a strong position to respond to any virus outbreaks. And the most important thing, though, is that we want to provide as good an experience as we can for our students who have had a rough and perhaps disappointing time over the last 6 months. We thought, we'd see a drop in international students, but so far we haven't lost a single one. So if we can move on to our research area. As you know, the university is now, in terms of student numbers, a majority postgraduate university compared to the number of undergraduates. And many areas of research here at Oriel continue to go from strength to strength. We had a £1 million donation from Jim Mellon recently to kick off the Mellon Longevity Programme, which is such an exciting development for the college. And that will really help the research of Lynn Cox, who you're going to hear at midday with Max Crispin talking about the university's COVID response. You'll also see when you get your copy of Oriel News, which will be delivered to you in the next few weeks, information about our environmental science hub, which is maintained in collaboration with the Jackson Foundation, and it continues to grow and thrive. And I'm incredibly proud of this particular area of research because we've got more academics working in this area than any other college in the university, with the possible exception of Linacre, which is a graduate-only college. And it's something that we continue to fundraise for and invest in. And it's an important area of research, as all areas of research are too, but we're very proud of it. In fact, we've just had one of our supernumerary fellows, Ben Caldecott, was recently announced as the new Professor of Sustainable Finance as part of this area. And that's a new partnership in itself between Oxford and a Swiss investment manager called Lombard Odier. And talking of money, we will soon be you don't have to get your wallets out yet, but we will soon be launching our new fundraising campaign, which is going to be called 700 Years of Oriel, People and Place. And that campaign will run up until 26 and has an ambitious £50 million fundraising target. It's going to focus on two themes. The people bit is to fund in perpetuity outstanding teaching and research at Oriel, unlocking the potential of students and academics to make their contribution to the world. And the place aspect of fundraising is to raise money for and fund capital projects which preserve, restore and reimagine, if you like, Oriel's historic site, not just in the college, but over on the island site and in King Edward Street, providing it with what the Prime Minister might call world-beating facilities, unlocking the potential of Oriel's buildings. The key is for us to attract the best students and attract also the best academic staff and make sure that they stay here. And if we can achieve this fundraising goal, I think it will be transformative for Oriel. And in fact, it's kicking off. As I look out the window right now, I can see a giant marquee covering every inch of second quad. And that's there for two reasons, partly to give us a bit more socially distant space, but also because we decided to take advantage of the situation where we can't use the hall properly to close it for a couple of terms for a massive renovation and restoration programme. You can see this is it hasn't been done properly for about 100 years. This is what the hall looked like before the last restoration. You can see the sort of gas lamps on the wall. And this is something that needs to be done. And we've taken on a brilliant, probably the best conservation architect in the country, Richard Griffiths, who's just finishing work at the Charterhouse in London. And the hall will undergo a full renovation to restore it to a glorious condition. Roof repairs, window repairs, restoration of furniture, restoration of the wood panelling. But also, we're going to be adding some 21st century standards, proper fire detection system, public address, hearing loop technology, proper, really good lighting system, as well as replacing electrical circuits and improving the heating. So it's going to be a really good thing, and it's a wonderful moment to be able to do it. Given that it's an inconvenience, we might as well do it now. So on that note, I'm really looking forward to holding proper, in-person, real, socially undistanced celebrations and activities once the work is complete. And I'm going to wrap up now and take any questions if there are any, but I really hope you enjoy the academic content we've prepared for you this weekend. And I'm so grateful to the academics who volunteered to provide this additional entertainment on their weekend. And finally, before we go to your next session, I want to extend my thanks to you for attending today, and also to the development and alumni relation team who really worked so hard to bring us all together to enjoy this virtual alumni weekend. And I'll raise my cup of tea and say Floriat Oriel. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Neil. We have one question. So it's from Maurice. He says, can you convince us that 50% first is a good thing and that each first earner is deserved now as 50 years ago?
Well, I can have a go, but I have to be quite sensitive about it because there are some people on this call who did get firsts in this academic year, and I know how hard they work. I can probably only reference it compared to when I was here as an Oriel student in the matriculating in '78, when I suppose the proportion of firsts was much less, was much lower. I think the students today are a very different kind of student. I think they are much more academic. I think they work much harder. I think they've probably been through some very challenging academic experiences to get here. So I'm not sure that we can compare the range of students that we have today with the kinds of students that we were in my day. Yes, there is talk of great inflation. And it may be that this year there's been great inflation across the university, because in a way you're right, at a level of 50%, in a normal year, that would mean that we were top of the Norrington table by a huge distance. But I imagine that we're probably not, and that the university has been particularly lenient, taking into account the new system of examining and the conditions under which students were operating. So I'm not sure we can look at this as as particularly indicative of the way things are going. But I would say that I think that the students that I've come across do deserve the grades that they've got at the end of all this, and that we mustn't be too we mustn't doubt the change in grades too much. Thank you.
Great. There's also one from Caroline saying that the renovation of the hall sounds very interesting. Could the college please update on your social media channels? I mean, from the view of the development office, we'll definitely be updating. So yeah, I think, unless you have anything else to say, Neil.
No, it really is quite exciting. An enormous amount of work has gone into it. We've gone into researching. The last time it was done was in about, I think, just over 100 years ago, and the architect then, or the designer then, was Ninian Comper, who installed new panelling to replace the ancient ones. So we've been looking through research on his stuff. We found all sorts of guides about exactly what paint colours he wanted on the wall and what things should look like. And I think it's going to be, I think you'll be surprised when you come in. And I think we're also going to be doing things to the screen passage as you come in and to the gallery. And it's just a once in a century opportunity to get this done.
I think we've got one more question, which is from Simon. He says that you've answered most of the questions he was going to ask, but he's just asking, how have you and the other staff coped on a personal level with the strain of current conditions?
Listen, I think it's been really hard for everybody. It's not just at Oriel or in the college, but across the country. We know that people have really suffered, partly down to the isolation and partly due to concern and worry. Other people, perhaps like me, just kind of power on and haven't really noticed. I found that my own personal experience is that I've been busier than I've ever been in my whole life, dealing with this and other things. We are very mindful of the sort of mental health of our staff and also our students, and we do take a lot of care over that, and we want to make sure that they are in good shape. In fact, at the moment, I don't know whether you know, but students, when they come here, have college parents and appointed to them, who are students in the years above them, who look after them. And I've just been talking to the porters who want to volunteer themselves as college grandparents, so that they can also help out if necessary.
Great. So I don't think there's any more questions. So I think we've sort of reached the end of our time. So thank you so much, Neil, for giving us an update, and thank you to everyone listening in. We hope you enjoyed the sessions, and we'll see you later on today. Thanks very much. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.